I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast. And this training is specifically for young men. And so, um, I'm 61 years old, and I think back to when I was 12 years old and 15 years old. And, so my dad asked us six kids if we wanted to go ahead and if any of us wanted to sell Christmas trees. So we had this old farmhouse that was developed, all everything was developed, but we had in the backyard we had all these pine trees. And so I think I was probably 12, 13, something like that. um and uh and so the trees were growing too high, so we had to, he had to cut off the top of the trees. And so he said, do any of you kids want to sell Christmas trees? And I'm like, well, yeah, I will. That'd be cool. He says, okay, since it's my land and I'm cutting, he had to climb up. I was too young to climb up. Wasn't Amish. And so like climb up and cut the trees off. He says, since it's my land and I'm doing it, you get 50% for selling the tree, and I'll take 50% for the land and getting them cut. I thought that was a really fair deal. I'm like, dang, this is a great deal. And so I did that. Any ideas on, why that's so profound for each of you guys?
No.
Yeah, because see, at the age of 12, I knew how to take initiative. I knew how to see opportunity and take initiative, drive stuff forward. Young men these days, they just don't. They're just complacent. They drink energy drinks. They watch video games. They're into pornography. They're into the internet. They're into social media. They're talking and listening and getting all this dopamine hit. Poor souls. Poor saps. like, like, like they're just not driven. Like whatever. Like it's whatever. 12 years old. So it's so cute. Like once it was funny. Like I was probably 45 years old, and Tom Kuntz was probably 60, in his early 60s. And I remember him doing some stuff, some funky stuff with people. Like he could get people to do things that I could not get them to do. And I'm like, well, it's probably because they were older, because he's older. I rationalized it. Like I'm like, yeah, when I get to be 60, I'll be able to be as good as he is. Then I thought, well, that's kind of a stupid way to think. Like, Like maybe he could do what he did when he was in his 20s, Mark. I think that happens a lot to young men around me. I think they think, well, Mark's 61. Like, when I get to be 61, I'll have his energy. No, you won't. You don't have it now. When I get to be 61, I'll have his passion. You don't even your passion now, and you're what? 20, 25, 30, 40? No, no, you're not going up. You're going to go down. Like, no, you know, well, I'm going to see what Mark sees now. No, I saw at 12 what you don't see now. You poor saps. I'm like, oh, and what do you do with them, right? Like, what do you do with, you know, what do you do? So I don't know the answer to that. I just know that probably, I'd be really humble because, the marketplace will humble you. You get married, your wife, she'll humble you. Your kids, they'll humble you. And so, I'd be after it. And then on these, on these podcasts for young men, like these short little segments, I'd go ahead and ask. I'd ask some questions. Like I can tell how much somebody makes by the questions that they ask. Seriously, I can. I can look at it. I can look and listen to a question. I'm like, yep, that person's earning 10,000. That person's earning 20. That one's earning a half a million based on the questions they ask and how much energy, they bring to the situation. There's always a reason why, oh, it's too early in the morning. It's too late. I've worked hard. I've got this. Like, really? Are you kidding? Like my dad, hilarious. Like he's probably mid 60s, maybe 70. He's working at Camp Manitoumi and he's laying block. And there's three young men. like they're in their early 20s. They can't keep up to the guy. Seriously, Mr. Boersma, can we take a break? Like three of them are feeding him blocks. He's putting on the mortar and putting it down. Like the poor guys. Like, man, your dad works. You think? Like, you think? So this isn't just physical work; it's mental work, relational work, financial work, spiritual work, moral work, emotional work. Like, are you gonna be sorry, but are you gonna be a lazy ass, or are you gonna go ahead and get her done? Like, get it up, like make it happen. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. So yeah, there's a young lady. She's 29. She's pretty interesting. So she's talking to me about doing a podcast, and it's like she's got some zip in her. Like she's got some zip. So that's going to be interesting to see if that gets followed through on. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today. Oh, in these future ones, what you can do is if you don't have a question, ask Tim, my son. When he was 9 years old, he came to these early in the morning. He wasn't an early morning person, trust me. And he figured out that he cracked the code on his own without his dad's help on how to go ahead and ask really brilliant questions, like crazy, crazy questions. So talk to Tim and get some suggestions on that. The other default you can do is you can say, hey, Mark, when you were 17 years old, like what were you doing when you were 17? And what were you thinking? And what were you preparing for in life? Like, what were you after when you were 17? You can ask any age, when you were 12, when you were 6, when you were 3, when you were 22, 25. Like success in life, it comes a lot from passion and drive and making things happen. So hopefully this has been helpful to all of you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.